Yeah, all you have to do, right, is to join their club, and get all this privilege, all these extra rights that nobody has, all these abilities now to just bully and push everyone around. All you have to do is join their little club and just say you don't even have to be trans, you don't even have to be non-binary, you just have to say you are. And then you can you can join the little club of the people that get extra rights.
How do you feel about them leaving the environment that you've quite carefully created for them?
There is a big bad world out there, and the prospect of Mika in particular being bullied because of their gender expression.
This kid is not going to be bullied. The LGBT people, they have more privilege than any other group in the world. Literally. They're taking over everything. What is this guy talking about? Just like at the store. Nobody cares anymore, okay? Nobody cares that you're whatever you are, right? What the problem is what you need to be worried about is the little boy is going to grow up and not know how to be a man, okay? He's going to be confused. He's going to be depressed. He's not going to be able to handle anything. You put him in a school that only cares about fun and playtime and creativity. What the hell? You've really screwed your kids. His kids are going to be dependent on this man. That's why probably he's doing it. He's probably doing it because he wants them to be dependent on him because he knows he's a piece of shit and nobody wants to be around him.
Of course I don't want them bullied. And of course it scares the hell out of me. But
if you don't want them bullied, why are you doing everything in your power to make sure that they like to do stuff that people would bully them for? And nobody is bullying anybody. You can see the whole country is woke.
I think that they have the tools to deal with it, and we talk about it. My job is to create the framework from which they feel safe and they can go out from.
But a lot of people would say you're deliberately bringing up your child to not fit in with the norm, and that could be dangerous for them. What would you say to that?
Yeah, because that's going to confuse them, and that's what gender dysphoria is. It's just that simple. It's all it means. Is you're confused about your gender. So if you confuse your kid about your gender, then you've just made them into trans.
I would say you're absolutely right. People raise their children to be just like them, so we're doing nothing different. We're absolutely ordinary in that way.
That could be dangerous for them. What would you say to that?
I would say you're absolutely right. People raise their children to be just like them, so we're doing nothing different. We're absolutely ordinary in that way.
Just think if I wear glasses. Just think if I had my kid, so I'm doing stuff to him, getting him to do stuff so that he ruins his eyes, so he has to wear glasses, so he's like me. That's basically what he's doing.
Let me just say, they are both assigned male at birth, they're both white, they're both able-bodied, they're intelligent, they've got a full knapsack of privileges. So if they have to deal with a little bit of discomfort because they have a mapa, or because full knapsack of privileges. So if they have to deal with a little bit of discomfort because they have a mapa at birth, they're both white, they're both able-bodied, they're intelligent, they've got a full knapsack of privileges. So if they have to deal with a little bit of discomfort because they have a mapa, or because their gender expression doesn't match what other people think it should be, gender confusion is a small price to pay for social progress. Gender confusion is a small price to pay for social progress. Gender confusion is a small price to pay for social progress. Gender confusion is a small price to pay for social progress.
It sounds like from some of what you said, you're kind of trying to bring them up with an antidote for the amount of privilege they've been born with.
I don't want to strip them of...
That's what it is. That's what it is.
Their unearned privilege. I think a lot of...
Unearned privilege? His kids are not privileges anyway. They are actually the most unprivileged kids I can see in the world. They have no hope to succeed.
The social problems we have in the world are down to the streaming that we force boys this way and girls this way. Some of us have escaped those systems of regulation.
These kids are part of the 9,999,999. You are stripping them from their freedom to be who they are, to be a boy if they're a boy. What is wrong with this guy? This is like pure evil.
After my time in Sweden, I found that while adults have strong ideas about gender, Mika and kids their age are still working out what gender means to them. The norms we have about the binary won't change overnight, but if kids would truly be given room to explore gender on their own terms, maybe a more fluid gender identity would gradually become more acceptable.
Yes, it will. But then your society is going to fall apart because you have a bunch of nut jobs who can't handle anything. They are not strong enough, and you're feminizing your men. So that means your country's a piece of shit and garbage. Then now, who's going to defend you? You have ruined relationships in Sweden. There's no such thing as a normal marriage in Sweden anymore. These people, the men don't. They literally are like robots over there in Sweden. They literally are. They have no emotions anymore. The adults are like, it's insane. All these people, these people that grow up, they're starting to become adults now, and they're detransitioning back. And all these videos, thousands of videos of people. Now I can never have sex. I've never had it because they gave me puberty blockers at 10. So I'll never have that. I chopped my junk off, so now I don't have my junk. I can't, women saying they chopped my tits off because I was a tomboy. So, one time I played with these train set, so that they chopped my tits off. And, these kids, when they grow up and they're 6 foot tall, 240 pounds, these boys, and they're 18 years old. Yeah, they're gonna be happy about this fetish that this habit about wearing dresses. Are they going to be happy to have this habit now?
Gender confusion is a small price to pay for social progress. Gender confusion is a small price to pay for social progress. Gender confusion is a small price to pay for social progress.
A family can be made up in many different ways.
It's called SOGI, for Sexual Orientation and Gender Identification, a curriculum that teaches public school students across Canada to celebrate the homosexual lifestyle and that gender is fluid. In other words, your gender is not dependent on what parts you were born with, but rather what you feel like in the moment.
There's people that are boys, there's people that are girls, there are people whose gender might be a little bit of both, or might even be neither.
Lessons include books about transgender children, such as 10,000 Dresses, and songs like the Rainbow Song.
Gender won't decide the choices we make. Some boys like dressing up, some girls.
It's almost like they just spend all day talking about race and gender.
Like catching snakes.
The SOGI curriculum started in British Columbia in 2016 and is quickly spreading throughout Canada.
I just thought, who decided that this was okay to...
Now, you remember in the last person, it took 2 videos to get the story out, right? About that intersex guy that had the kids that were, non-binary or whatever. What's happening in Canada, that story was from Sweden, okay? That area around Sweden, those countries there, they're doing the same thing. They have a different name for it, though, okay? But they're getting all the schools to do this stuff. You know what I mean? Like an organized way that like they're doing in Canada.
To teach our children.
Author and inspirational speaker Laura Lynn Tyler Thompson is a leading voice against the SOGI curriculum.
And we are seeing the results of that now because some kids are reacting very emotionally and saying, and they're in fear. Will I be you know, will I suddenly struggle with feeling like a different gender inside of my body?
Keep in mind, this is 1 in 10 million kids. This is like you have a better chance at winning the lottery, okay? Why do they keep doing it, huh? You ever think of that? You ever think why do they care about one? You know what I mean? You don't raise your kid up telling him that he's going to have cancer, and you're going to tell him about all that. You might have to shave your head off. You know, you got a colostomy bag. You get a crap. You don't tell your kid that, preparing him just in case he'll have cancer, because it's highly unlikely that he's not going to have cancer. And if you do that, you keep jamming the crap about the cancer on him, he's going to be a hypochondriac and thinking he has cancer, right? This is so funny. Is gender dysphoria is basically what, if you're trans, that's what you suffer from, gender dysphoria. What is gender dysphoria? All it is confusion about the genders. If you have confusion about your gender, or genders, or that's it. You have gender dysphoria. You're dysphoric about gender. How do you make a 5-year-old and a 10-year-old and everyone in between? How do you make, if you keep telling them that they have 100, genders in that, these people, especially in 5 and under, they don't even know that count to 10. So 10, just saying 100 genders, that right there, they're already confused. Most adults are confused. So why would you expect a 5-year-old? And a 5-year-old has no gender per se, you know what I mean? They're pretty androgynous until they get their hormones. So nobody knows what they are, including them.
Carrie Simpson of Culture Guard, another leading opponent, calls the curriculum nothing short of child abuse.
Yeah, because all they're doing is they're creating trans kids. How do they do that? They confuse them about gender. What is, to be trans, that means you have to have this gender dysphoria, which is being confused about the whatever. So they get them all confused, and then they go home to their mother and they say, I'm confused. And then the school and the government and everything else tells these parents that, hey, you better get him to a psychiatrist or he could kill himself. Oh, there's just millions of, we don't ever see any of these suicides mentioned on news, specific people, never. But they're happening, of course, just like the black people. Cops are just shooting up black people thousands a day. Yeah, because that all makes sense. But yeah, so they take them to the doctor, and then the doctor, boom, you're on your way. The kid just has to play with a doll or whatever, a truck, and they're the wrong whatever. They're at the doctor's doing gender affirming care.
All those beautiful qualities that make young girls, beautiful girls and women, are being basically vilified. The things that make our boys are being, taken from them. So things of equating young men to being strong protectors is something that's now evil.
Yeah, that basically what they're saying is they're telling all the little girls you're a piece of shit if you act like a little girl. And they're telling all the little boys if you act like a little boy, you're a piece of garbage. They want everyone to act the same. They don't want boys or girls. They want non-binaries.
But Morgan Auger, a transsexual and supporter, claims it's about acceptance, not indoctrination.
The idea is to teach kids that there are gay kids and there are trans kids and there are trans parents and gay parents in our society, and everybody's wanted and desired. After all, that's what our Human Rights Code says.
There's more gay people than trans people, obviously, but you don't take the minority there and just talk about them all day long when especially trans. You're talking about 1 out of 10 million. It's like a couple people in each state, and yet everybody has to know about it. Little 5-year-olds have to know about it, huh?
And it's the role of schools to teach the following of our laws, right?
Simpson disagrees, saying she sees Soji's real goal as
altering our culture from a heteronormative society into one where anything goes, no boundaries, no values, no morals. It's a hedonistic cult.
Yeah, it's a religion, and it's communism. It's the deep state. The deep state is making a new religion.
Basically what they're implying.
Another blaring example, drag queen story time. It's happening in Canada and America.
Hey, and keep in mind, the drag queen is by definition a gay male stripper